So if you have questions, you should ask me your questions. Can I explain the words marinating and pickling? Okay, sure. They're not necessarily for meats and vegetables separately. No. The word marinate means to put something in a sauce or spices or some kind of something that will help to add flavor to the meat, right? So a marinade is usually like a little bit of oil and a little bit of some spices, maybe some garlic and some onion and some herbs and some lemon juice, maybe some vinegar if you like a sour flavor, right? And then you'll let the meat sit in that uncooked. So chicken, like maybe you put chicken in a marinade for an hour or overnight. Some people will do it for a whole day. They put the meat in the marinade for the whole day before they cook it, and the marinade will add flavor to it. So the sauce we make is called a marinade, and that is what we marinate with, right? So marinating is to add a certain flavor to usually meats, although it could be for maybe mushrooms, it could be vegetables, but it's usually meat. Pickling is a way of preserving food to keep it longer. So we usually do pickle vegetables, okay, but you can pickle fruits. You can also pickle meats, right? In America, we have something called pickled pig's feet that have been pickled. And pickling is when you use salt or vinegar to make something, to preserve something to last longer, right? So in the summertime, we grow cucumbers, and I'll grow some cucumbers very small, and then we cut them into pieces and we put them in a jar with a bunch of salt and water and spices, and we put that in the refrigerator for a month or 2 months, and that becomes pickles. They become pickles. They're pickled. Okay? So marinating is a technique to add flavor to a food before you cook it. And pickling is a preservation technique, a preserving technique to use to keep foods longer. Okay? I had you at hello. What does that mean? So if somebody says you had me at hello, that's a joke where maybe somebody is trying to convince you to do something, right? And while they're telling you, oh, well, if you come, then we'll do this, and we'll go here, and we'll do this, it'll be great. You should come because we're going to do all these things. So then maybe you'll say, wow, all that, that's amazing. Yeah, I'll go with you. But when you say, you had me at hello, it means you didn't have to say any of the list. You said hello, and I'm ready to go. I'll go with you just because you said hello to me. It's a silly little joke. It doesn't really make much sense, to be honest. Okay? So you had me at hello is just like, sure, okay, I'll do whatever you want, or I like talking to you, so let's keep talking, something like that. Okay? Shrewd, crafty, sophisticated, scheming. What is the difference between these words? Shrewd is a word that's often used in a way that means like a shrewd business person, a shrewd businessman means somebody who's very careful about business. They think about everything very carefully before they make any decisions. They're very thoughtful about what they do in business. That's usually to be shrewd. Let me check something here. So to be shrewd is to have good judgment in practical matters, but sometimes that means that you're making a good business decision that's good for your business, but maybe not good for people, right? So to be shrewd sometimes just means you're good, you're very, very careful about business decisions, right? And you make them carefully. Sometimes it means that you will make the decision you need to make, even if it hurts some people, if it's good for your business. That's to be shrewd. Okay? Let's see. The other one, crafty. To be crafty, I think it comes from an old Norse German word, kraftig. Let me see. Yeah, kraftig, which means to be skillful. So crafty means you're very skillful in making something. The word crafts usually means something that you made. I made some kind of a craft. But the word crafty can also just mean like, well, it can mean like clever. Or what's the other word? The word is cunning. Do you know the word cunning? To be cunning is in Chinese 就是狡猾的. Okay, I think that's the right word. Or let me see. Yeah, I think that's the word. 狡猾的. Okay, cunning. So, sophisticated is a word that we use when we're talking about things that are somehow elevated in some way. They're raised up, they're better than. So, if I say this is a very sophisticated computer, that means it's a very nice computer with a lot of things it can do, right? It's complicated, it's complex, it's capable of doing things at a high level, okay? If I say this is a sophisticated device, right? Your cell phone is a sophisticated device. It can do many, many, many things. Let me check this word. So it's interesting. The word sophisticated, originally, it meant to make something impure, not pure, not 100% something. It's now you've added something a little bit to it. So the original meaning was to add something to a mixture, right? A foreign substance or an inferior substance. It's very interesting because the original meaning of the word means something very bad, but the word sophisticated today has a positive meaning. Wait a minute. A sophist. One who gives intellectual instruction for pay. So, have. Wow, this is hard to explain. Sophisticated comes from the word sophist. And a sophist was a group of people in Greek history. They were the teachers. They would teach you things. They were the wise people, the masters, the teachers, right? They were the sophists. And so the word sophist came to mean somebody who teaches you things for money, like a tutor, like a teacher that you pay, right? So this is funny. There were two kinds of Greeks in that day. There were the Greeks like the Spartans, and there were the Greeks like the Athenians. And the Athenians were the philosophers. They were the thinkers. They were the talkers, right? But the Spartans were the warriors. They were the fighters, right? So the word sophist became a term that was like a bad thing because you think too much and you're not a good fighter, right? So that was kind of this, it was like a bad word that you called somebody, right? So it's weird because if you were a fighter, then the term sophist was a bad thing. But if you were a thinker, then the term sophist was a good thing because it means you're a thinker, right? So the term sophisticated means, in my opinion, it's a positive word. It's something that means something that's elevated, something that's higher level in some way. But the original meaning was like it was a rude thing to say. He's a sophist. He's sophisticated, right? Like he's too complicated. He thinks too much. That kind of a thing. Okay? Excuse me. And scheming. A scheme is a plan of some kind. So when you are scheming, it means you're making plans, and usually it's a plan, like some sort of a plan to do something bad or something that's for you, it's good, but for everybody else, it's bad, right? So it's a scheme, right? So the word scheme is related to the word, well, let me check. Hold on before I speak. Let me double check. So the original meaning of the word scheme just means a form or a shape of something. But then the word came to mean like a plan that you make, a plan of action, right? So someone who schemes is someone who's always making plans about something. Usually that word is used in a way that's kind of negative in some way. So if I think, maybe I'll say, I don't know what he's scheming this time, but I know it's not good, right? It means I know he's planning something that's not good, okay? All right, I did my best, Gwen. But, Gwen, sometimes some of those words are a bit interchangeable, right? So I could say, Wow. Yeah, it's very hard to try to give me a an exact way to tell the difference between those. Gwen, here's what I would like you to do. I would like you to go look online, do a search for, or you can ask DeepSeek to make 5 example sentences with each of those words. Look at 5 sentences that use shrewd, look at 5 sentences that use crafty, and 5 for sophisticated and 5 for scheming. That will help you to see what the difference is in usage, like where you might use it here but not here. Okay, sometimes that's the best way to see how these two words that are very similar are a little bit different. Look at the way they're used. Okay? Okay, you want to improve your writing skills. I can give you some advice, but I don't know what that means. You have to tell me more, okay? Do you need to learn to write the alphabet? Do you need to learn how to write basic words? Do you need to learn how to write poetry? Do you need to learn how to write a business email? What kind of writing do you need to improve and why? What's wrong with your writing now? Everybody, please look at me right now. If you have a problem and you need help, you need to know how to ask for that help. So if you just say, "Can you help me with my writing?" that does not work because I don't know what you need. Help with my writing is too big. That's too big. So think about what you really need and then ask that. Okay? All right. You need to pass the IELTS in 4 months, but my level has declined after a long break. I feel frustrated. Well, Jumana, break time is over. Break time is over. You better start studying. You better have a plan. You need a system and a plan that every day you follow for 4 months. You need to follow a plan. Okay? Hello, Waleed. Hello, Sumana. Hello, Lily. Hello, Dio. Hello, Zia. I saw a guy on TikTok and he told you that I had you at hello means I fell in love with you the first time. It could mean that, but it doesn't mean that, like, basically, no. If somebody said you had me at hello, I would not think that means they're in love with me. I would think that means something like they're desperate for attention. They're desperate for something to do. There are a bunch of other reasons why you would say you had me at hello. Okay? But I'll tell you what, Susu, guess what? That's kind of what we call a pickup line. A pickup line, right? And I'll tell you this. Pickup lines don't work. If you want to talk to a girl, you don't need to be clever. Just talk to her. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. That's all you need to do. You don't need to tell a joke. You don't need to be clever and funny. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you this. I think that most girls will say, "Please don't. It's annoying." Most girls have had somebody say a pickup line to them at some point. And it's never cool. It's always really cringe. So, you don't need to know this, "Oh, you had me at hello." Okay? That's kind of a pickup line. Can I write what down? I don't know what I'm writing down. scheme, Lily. Scheme is Scheme. Lee, DeepSeek, ChatGPT, whatever, Claude, I don't care, 都可以，随便. Okay? 都可以. Is there any difference in definition of health between men and women? Huh? Okay, Kareem, I am an English teacher and a drummer. Okay, man? I am not a doctor. I am not God. So I cannot tell you the differences between men and women. And listen to me carefully right now. You should not ask some guy. You should not ask some guy questions like that. Okay? Who am I? What difference does it make what I think? Because I'm not an expert in that area. All right? So when you ask me a question like that, it doesn't matter what I think because I'm not a master of that area. If you ask me English, now I can help you. If you ask me about music, I can help you. History, maybe I can help you. But you're asking me the difference in health between men and women? Ask a doctor. Ask a doctor, someone who studied that. Okay? Don't just ask anybody medical questions. Okay, that's part of the problem today. Part of the problem is we can talk to each other and everybody has an opinion about everything. Okay, but I will tell you this very clearly. Not every opinion is equal. Okay, you can think anything you want, but that does not make what you think correct. Okay? That's why this world, we need experts. We need people who are familiar with this topic so that they can speak about it clearly. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to speak about those things that I know. I can speak about those things that I know clearly, but I'm not going to speak about things that I don't know. Okay? But today, there are millions of people online speaking about things that they don't know about. Everybody is telling everybody every opinion they have about everything. And almost all of those opinions are so, if you want to know something, Kareem, if you're curious about something, make sure you ask the right person. Get the knowledge from somebody who has the knowledge. Don't just get the knowledge from some guy. Okay, Kareem? And always look for somebody who's willing to say, I don't know. Because today, you will not find many people who say, I don't know. Everybody here on this on the internet today, everybody says, oh, I know the answer to that. I'll tell you everything. I know. I don't know why they didn't think of this before. I'm a genius. I have all the answers. That's everybody today. Okay? But I don't have all the answers. I promise you I don't. And I definitely don't have the difference. I don't have a good definition of the differences between men and women in health. Now, my sister's a doctor. She could tell you about that, but not me. Okay? Now, let's continue. I have a problem when I speak on any topic. There are a lot of grammatical mistakes. Okay, Karar, then you need to work on grammar every single day. You need grammar exercises and grammar workbooks and grammar worksheets. Okay, so go to games to... Oh, wait, I'll just do it this way. Hold on. Go here. games2learnenglish.com, And you can also go to hello. Let me try this. What is going on with Bamboozle? There's another website called bamboozle.com, but it seems like it's not working right now. Okay. So those two websites are great for practicing grammar stuff. All right. All right. Next question. I want to improve my listening skills, especially American accent, because I have an occupational English test. Can you give advice about it? Then you need to listen to podcasts every day, Shri. So go on TED Talks and listen to TED Talks. Go to npr.com and look for the podcasts that NPR has. NPR has a lot of good podcasts to listen to. All right? If you need to work on your listening, then go work on your listening. But listen to people who speak well. Okay? How do you hit on girls? You say hello. And then, Lee, if you want a girl to like you, then you have to have something to like. Do you have a talent? Do you have a skill? Do you have knowledge about something? Are you good at anything? That's what a girl wants to see. A girl needs to see that you are capable. Are you capable? Can you do something, man? So, Lee, I don't need any pickup lines. Do you know why, man? I'll tell you why, Lee. Because I'm a drummer. Okay, Lee? I play drums in a band. Okay? If you play drums and you play well and you play music in front of people, you don't need a pickup line. If you have a talent, can you cook? Can you sing? Can you draw? Can you do something, man? I teach people like that too. Okay? So, if you have a talent, then you don't need a pickup line. Okay? I mentioned I should follow a plan. Do I recommend a specific program? I don't have a specific program for you, Jumana, but I can tell you that you need to think about 8 different areas of language: reading, writing, listening, speaking, thinking, grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. I'll say them again: reading, writing, listening, speaking, and thinking, grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. So you need to have 8 different plans for those things, and you need to focus on the ones that you're the worst at. So if you're really bad at listening and at writing, then that is what you need to do the most on. Okay? Don't do the thing that you're really good at already. You're already good at that thing. Don't practice that. Okay? Can I explain the difference between peel, skin, rind, husk, and coat in English? Okay, yeah. Let me think about that for a minute. That is a little tricky. So coat is usually the term that we use for something you wear in the winter, waitao, right? Just like that's for a cold winter jacket is a coat, all right? So coat is usually the word we use for a heavier jacket, okay? But coat can also be used for things like paint. When you paint a house, you paint it one time and you let it dry. Then you paint it again and you let that dry. Then you paint it again and you let that dry. That's 3 coats of paint. So a coat of paint means a layer of paint that you painted, right? Let me think of other examples of coat. Yeah. Okay. So, for example, a dog has a thick coat of skin, right? So, um, a coat of fur, right? An animal fur. So, the word coat is often with the word fur. Uh, for example, if the dog has very, very thick fur, we'll say it's a thick coat of hair. Okay? So, but I think that it's still talking, it's like it's a heavy jacket for winter. It's thick, it's heavy, right? So it's thicker and heavier. The word coat is usually used in that case. Maybe you have a seed in a fruit. Sometimes a seed has an outer coating. It has a protective coating, like the bark on a tree. The bark on a tree is a coating. It's an outer coating on the tree. Okay, so it's like a protective thing, right? But you can still think about it like it's like a winter coat. It's thicker, right? The word husk is usually used for corn, at least where I live. But coconut also. Corn husks, coconut husk, and grain husks. So, rice. Rice, the outside of the rice that protects the rice, that's called the husk. And you have to get that off the rice, right? So that's the husk of the rice. Coconut has that brown, fibrous, really thick coating. That's called the husk of the coconut. And corn, the peels of the corn that you peel down, the things that you pull down, that's the husk of the corn. Okay? And then rind. Examples of rinds. Fruits, vegetables, and cheeses usually have a rind. It's a rind. It's something that protects the soft interior. So something is very soft inside, and then the outside will protect it, right? So, for example, lemons, limes, and grapefruits, the outer the peel is also called the rind. Okay, so those two that's the same. Okay, peel and rind in fruit. Okay, with melons like watermelons and cantaloupes, the outside part is the rind. The part that you don't eat, that's the rind, right? So when you eat watermelon, the part you're left with, that's the rind. Okay, and then pineapple, the outside of the pineapple, that's the rind of the pineapple. Cheese, if you have soft French cheese or soft cheese, the outside part of the cheese that you don't usually eat is called the rind. Okay? That one's a little tricky. You're right. There are many situations where these words sometimes are interchangeable. Like peel and skin. Skin is skin. Pifu, right? But we do say the skin of the banana, the skin of the apple, the skin of the fruit, right? And we also say the peel of the fruit, okay? Again, Susu, this is another situation like I suggested earlier where I think in this case, what I would say is look at 5 or 10 examples of sentences that use those words, and then you'll start to feel the difference when you see how they're used. Then you'll start to see, I think I get it. This one's used in this situation, right? Just look for 5 or 10 examples or have DeepSeek or ChatGPT write them for you, okay? Does good girl mean one girl is good? Good girl is just like a compliment, but it's not something that we usually say to people. We say it to dogs, like good boy, good dog, good girl, good dog, right? But we don't usually, I don't tell my niece, hey, good girl. I mean, maybe you could, but to me it sounds weird. But it's just a compliment. It should be just a compliment. Okay? Okay. Sumana, I have my channel, which is just this, right? But I don't know, I don't pay attention to a lot of other channels for English learning. I'm sure there are hundreds of great channels for English learning, but you have to go find them. Finding a great teacher is like finding treasure. You don't just find treasure in front of you on the ground. You have to go look for treasure. So if you want treasure, Sumana, are you willing to get it? If you want treasure, you have to go into the jungle and you have to find the treasure and you have to fight against the wild animals and you have to be willing to work for the treasure. Treasure is not treasure if you didn't work for it. So, go find the channel that you want. Go find the channel that you need. That's your treasure. Okay. Mona Lisa says, that's not an English language related question, so don't expect an answer. Mona Lisa, I don't mind if people ask me questions that are not about English. I don't mind that. But I don't want anybody to think that I'm here with every answer about everything. Okay? So, if you ask me a question that I think I can answer, then I will. If I think I have some information that might help you or some perspective that might help you, then I will try to answer. But I don't always have information that will help you, and I'm not going to say I do if I don't. Right? So if you ask me some things, I will say I don't know, like I did for that question. I don't know the answer to that. The differences between men and women in health, that's not a question for me. That's a question for a doctor. Okay? But if I do have a good answer, I will give it to you. If I feel I have something to offer, sure. Okay? I'm such a good actor when I do the poo-poo sound. You can understand American English, but you can't follow English with accents, how to solve the problem. Gwen, you need to start, like, pick one accent, right? So there are 30 different American accents. So you should choose one and try to focus on it, right? Try to listen to it, right? So maybe you choose the Southern accent, right? So you listen to a bunch of movies with Matthew McConaughey because he has that Southern Texas accent. All right, all right, all right. you know, that thing, right? Or you can choose the New York accent, okay? Um, but accents take time. You should start with a more basic level of listening, okay? Waleed, you're talking about crazy stuff today, Waleed. What's the best way to gain speaking skills so fast? Mahmoud, language has no speed. You do not need to speak quickly. You need to speak well. Okay? It's not about how fast you speak, man. It's about how well you speak. All right? How you doing? All right, that one I'll live with, Lee. Okay, that one goes back to Friends and Joey. Yeah, okay, that one's kind of funny. That has a history. It's actually really old now. It's like 30 years old, this how you doing kind of a thing, right? So if you do that, that's kind of cute. It's kind of funny. Okay, fine. But then you have to have something else. After you say how you doing, you have to actually have something to talk about. You have to have something to offer. You have to have a talent. You have to have a skill. You have to have something. Okay? What's the definition of zone out? Zoning out usually means like you're not thinking, you're fantasizing, you're daydreaming, right? So if I'm zoning out watching TV, then I'm watching the TV, but I'm just kind of like zoned out. All right, it's like you're daydreaming, you're not paying attention, you're not thinking about anything important, you're zoned out. Okay? Peanut coating, the shell of the peanut. That's what we call the shell. Peanuts have shells. In most nuts, we say the shell of the nut. Hello, Carolina, how are you? You always think your listening skills are very bad, but you can understand most of what I say. Andrew, so that's good. That means you can understand me. You can understand someone who speaks clearly. That's good. That's a good start. Now you have to try to find the people who don't speak clearly and understand them. That takes more time. Okay? Sell me this pen. What is fool's gold? What does it mean? Fool's gold is an actual term for a rock. Waleed, there's a kind of rock called pyrite. And pyrite, it looks kind of like gold, but it's not gold. Okay, let me show you what pyrite looks like. So, Waleed, this one is real gold here, but this one is pyrite. Okay, so pyrite is a kind of mineral. It's a kind of stone that it looks kind of like gold, but it's not gold. So it's called fool's gold. Okay. How about the Washington, D.C. accent? I don't know if they really have one. Not really. Let me check something. They should mostly sound like me. I mean, I've been there, and I never paid attention to any accent when I was there. DC speak. Interesting. So there is a DC accent, but it's not like everybody speaks that there. No, it's actually not common, as a matter of fact. DC, Washington, D.C. is a city that has a lot of workers from outside of D.C., like people who come to D.C. to work. So they're not from Washington, D.C. So the accent that you're going to hear mostly will be this one. Okay? But if your family has lived there for generations, then maybe you have the D.C. accent, which is not a very strong accent. It's the difference between the word strawberry and strawberry. Strawberry is the way I say it. Strawberry is the way they say it in D.C. It's not a strong accent. It's a very subtle accent. Yeah, but honestly, it's not something that I've ever talked about before because nobody's ever mentioned a DC accent. I look like ChatGPT. I don't know what that means. My southern accent. I don't have a southern accent, Waleed. I can't. I fake it. I'm just faking it, man. So I don't know. Some films to help you improve yourself from B1 to B2. Karar, I'll tell you this. If you want to improve yourself from B1 to B2, it's not films, man. You've got to read. You got to read, man. If you want to improve from B1 to B2, you have to read. Okay? Karar, if you take an English class, any English class in the world, they are not going to play movies during class. Why? Why don't they just play movies during class? Because that's not how you learn. That's not the best way. Okay? So, if you really want to learn, stop limiting yourself, Karar. You're limiting yourself. You're saying, I don't think I can do it the hard way. I don't think I can. I'm not good enough. I can't do it the right way. I'll do it the wrong way. I'll do it with movies because I'm too lazy to do it the other way. You could be great, Karar. You could be great at this, but you can only be great if you try to be great. If you try to be so-so, you'll only be so-so. So when you say, can you tell me some movies to watch, you're trying to be so-so. Read. If you want to improve, read. Okay? Where do we use inverse sentences and why do we use it? Shri, we use inverse sentences just because language is playful that way. So I could say, I'm going to the store now, or I could say, now I'm going to the store. Okay? Or I could say, let's see. Let's see. Here's some good examples for you. I have never seen such a beautiful sunset. Okay, you can say that. But you can also say, never have I seen such a beautiful sunset. It's just flipping it. It's playful, that's all, right? There's no real reason. It's just possible, okay? It's one possibility of a way to say it. You could say, he rarely goes out at night, or you could say, rarely does he go out at night. It's just another way to say it. You could say, we had no sooner arrived than it began to rain, or you could say, no sooner had we arrived than it began to rain. Okay? You often find yourself translating from Turkish to English in your mind while speaking. How do you stop doing that? Well, you have to train yourself to be able to think in English. So you need to practice thinking in English every day. So when I teach people how to think in English, I teach them that there are 4 levels of thinking, okay? So the first level of thinking in English is called baby English. Babies don't know anything about grammar, so don't worry about grammar. What do babies think about? Babies think about how they feel, what they want, and what they need. That's it. That's all babies think about. How they feel, what they want, and what they need. Okay, what they like, what they don't like. That's it. Okay? So, can you do that in English? When you feel tired, do you think that in your native language or do you think that in English? When you feel hungry, do you think that in your native language or do you think that in English? When you want to go to the store, do you think about it in your native language or do you think about it in English? So that's what you have to change. Speaking a language is kind of like swimming in a pool. Each language is one pool, right? So your native language is this pool, and you've been in that water a lot. So you're very comfortable with that water, with that pool, with your language. But you need to spend more time in the other pool. Okay? And sure, if you can read, that's great. If you can write, spend time doing that, that's great. If you can spend time listening, that's great. If you can spend time writing, that's great. But you also need to spend time thinking, because thinking is what we do the most of. You think all day. You think about how you feel. You think about what you want to do. You think about what you see on TV. Every time you're thinking, that's an opportunity to practice another language. Okay? So, if you are hungry from now on, be hungry in English. If you are tired from now on, be tired in English. If you need to go to the store from now on, do that in English. And if you cannot, that's your homework. So when you go outside tomorrow, look around. Look around and say, can I say that in English? Do I know how to say that in English? What's that called in English? And if you don't know, write it down. That's your homework. Find out. Okay? You can practice language anytime, anywhere. You don't practice because you think that you can only practice when you do writing, reading, listening, and speaking. But no, thinking is here. It's like a platform. This is thinking. Writing, reading, listening, and speaking, they stand on thinking. So if you want your writing, reading, listening, and speaking to be strong and powerful and feel confident, then you have to be standing on a confident platform of thinking. Okay? So baby English is step one. Just think simple things. I like this, I don't like that. I want this, I don't want that. I need this, I don't need that. Simple things all day. That's baby English. Then there's curious kid English is step two. Step two is what I call curious kid English. Between the ages of 5 and 12, kids are really curious. They ask a lot of questions. They ask a lot of questions, right? Who's that? What are we doing? Where are we going? Why? When? Right? They ask questions all the time. Why do kids do that? Why do kids ask so many questions? Because when you ask questions, you learn faster. And when you're a child, you're vulnerable. You're young, you're small, you can be hurt. So you need to ask more questions so that you can find out the information and be more careful. So it's important for kids to learn how to ask questions. What's that? Who is that? Why are we doing this? Where? When? How? Why? Right? So you need to do that in English. You need to do that in English. You need to think, if let's say you go to the store, you're at the grocery store. So now I want you to think about it in English. I want you to look around and I want you to think, who do I see? Oh, I see the workers, I see the boss, and I see my neighbor. What are they doing? Oh, my neighbor is buying milk. The boss is talking to the workers. Okay, where is the store? Oh, the store is down the street and to the right, or the store is 4 blocks down the road near the park, across from the park, right? Try to think of the answer, right? Who, what, when, where, when does the store open? When does the store close? Can you think about that and answer that question? So step 2 is curious kid English. You should ask as many simple questions as you can in your mind and then answer them completely. Like not yes, no, answer them completely, right? So if you say, who do I see at the store? Oh, my neighbor is at the store. Don't just say my neighbor. Think completely, all right? So that's step 2, curious kid English. And one more part of curious kid English is kids learn that language is a way to be more mature. So when you're a baby, you say goo goo gaga and you say mommy and yummy and you have all these baby words. But when you grow up, you start hearing that language changes when you get older and you want to feel like you're not a baby. So they use bigger words. So learn more adjectives and adverbs. Adjectives in particular, right? So instead of just the big table, you can say the huge table, the gigantic table, the enormous table, right? So you knew big when you're a baby. That's the big is the baby word. Big. It's small, it's easy, it's simple, but there are many words you could use that mean big, right? So you should learn them. Okay? So that's step 2, curious kid English. Then we have step 3, it's high school level, college level English, which that's like beginning college, which is when I call it identity English. Identity English. Identity English is about talking about you, talking about yourself, right? So who are you? Where are you from, right? Do you have any family, right? So can you think about your family in English? Can you think about your mom and dad? Where are they from? How old are they? What do they do for work? Right? Do you have any brothers or sisters? How old are they? Where do they live? What do they do for work? Can you think about all of that in English clearly? Okay? What about your friends? Who are your friends? Where are they from? Why do you like them so much? How did you meet? Right? What about your hobbies and your interests? Can you think about your hobbies and your interests in English completely? Right? I like to go fishing. I go fishing on the river, sometimes in the spring and in the summer. Right? Can you think about it in English and then talk about it? Right? So thinking about it is the first step. Okay, so that's step 3 is identity English is about simple topics like family, friends, work, education, travel, your goals, your dreams, right? Those are simple things, simple topics. That's the simple topics about identity. Okay, who you are, what you like, what you think, what you feel. That's those. Okay, then we have step 4. Step 4 is advanced English. And advanced topics, those are things like religion and philosophy and politics and history and science, right? Level 4 is extremely difficult, and most people don't reach that level. Okay, I can't speak about philosophy in Chinese yet. My Chinese is not that good. My Chinese is maybe identity level. I can speak about myself and what I like and what I feel and what I know, but I can't really speak deeply yet. Yet, right? That's the key. So step 1 is baby English. Step 2 is curious kid English. Step 3 is identity English. And step 4 is advanced topics. Okay? All right. Whew. That was a lot to talk about. What do I think about politicians' speeches for learning English when politicians have the best pronunciation? Which politicians have the best pronunciation, in my opinion? Alexander, I think that some politicians' speeches are good for learning English. We study some of our politicians' speeches in high school and college, maybe. We'll read them to see what's good about this language. You know, we'll analyze them in class maybe, and we'll say, like, why is this good? You know, or how is this language powerful, right? That kind of a thing. So sometimes politicians, the speeches, or not just politicians, but people who are speaking about politics, right? Like Martin Luther King. He's not a politician, but he gave a lot of political speeches, right? And those are valuable to study for many reasons, okay? Alexander, the Greeks had a system of rhetoric. It was the study of rhetoric, which means the study of speaking publicly, public speaking. And they would study the great public speakers, right? So yeah, this tradition of studying public speaking and politicians and what they say, the power of language, man. It shows you the power of language, right? It's been done for thousands of years. So sure, it's great. Do I love to play the drum set? Yes, I do. I am a drummer's drummer. Don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits. That's right, Sultan. What should you read? What's my recommendation? Let's see. I think that you should read what's in your level, and I think you should read what you're interested in. Okay? What I like is not what you're going to like. All right? Maybe I like Kurt Vonnegut, but you're not going to like Kurt Vonnegut. All right? Maybe I like Tolstoy, but you're not going to like Tolstoy. Okay? So, although nobody really says, I like Tolstoy. Tolstoy is something that you know, but I don't know if anybody actually likes it. Like, wow, it's so great. No offense to Tolstoy. But what I would say is there are millions of ways that you can read today easily. You can get books, of course, and read books, right? You can read articles, you can read news, you can read short stories, you can read journals and science stuff, right? There's so many things that you can read today. I think you should try to read things that push you, right? So if you're B1, then you need to read things that are around the B2 level to push yourself. B1, B2, right? Always reach. You have to be just like a plant. When you plant a seed in the ground, the seed has to reach up to the sun. If you want to learn, you have to reach for it. You cannot learn if you don't reach. Okay? So push yourself by doing something a little harder than your level. Okay? How to pronounce try. Try, try, try. Sophia, try. Okay, please be patient. I'm trying to catch up with the comments. Why you speak English, it makes us understand so clearly because you know Chinese. That's why you know how to use easy English words to say. Edison, I speak clearly because it works. Yes, I am an English teacher, and I teach non-natives. So if you're a non-native English teacher, or I should say you're an English teacher of non-natives, like me, like myself, if you are a teacher who teaches English to people who don't speak English, then yes, you need to use simple words clearly. I'm not trying to not be understood. I'm trying to be understood. If you're trying to be understood, then you use understandable language. Okay? I spent a lot of time, almost 9 months. I studied more than 2 hours every day, but so far I cannot improve myself. I cannot talk fluently. Okay, Karar, hi. Welcome to Earth. On Earth, there are no languages that can be learned in 9 months fluently. You can't learn any language in 9 months fluently. You can't learn English in 9 months fluently. You can't learn Chinese in 9 months fluently. You can't learn Arabic in 9 months fluently. Japanese, German, French, Portuguese, Italian, Spanish. You cannot learn a language in 9 months. I don't care what all of the... There are many websites that will tell you you can, okay? There are websites that will say, you can learn English in 3 months. You can learn English in 2 weeks. If you believe them, then please go there. But you can't. You cannot learn a language in 9 months. You can't learn it in 1 year, man. Karar, when you learn a language, you're learning a life skill. Life skills are not something you learn in 1 year. Life skills are something you learn through your life. So, Karar, I have been playing the drums for more than 35 years professionally. But I'm not a master in my mind. There are many, many things I still need to learn. There are many things I could be better at, and I've been playing drums for 35 years. Okay? Peanut coat. Waleed, we're talking about the shell of the peanut. Peanut, the outer part of the peanut is called the shell. We call it the shell of the peanut. I don't use kid English. I use clear English, Edison. There's a difference. Okay? There are many words that I use here that are adult words. Okay? Edison, I taught English in Taiwan for 4 or 5 years. We'll call it 5 years. Okay? And when I taught in Taiwan, yes, I used simple kid language all the time in that classroom. But in this classroom, no, I don't use that same language because most of you are adults. Okay, so I use simple, clear language because that's what you do when you're a teacher. Teachers need to be understood in order to teach. If you can't understand me, you can't learn. Okay? Okay. Oh, Waleed, man, you're breaking my heart, Waleed. You're breaking my heart. Tucker Carlson is a POS, man. Look it up. POS. No, Tucker Carlson is more like with an F, not a T. I can't stand that guy, man. Do I play the guitar? No, I can play a little bit of bass guitar, but I play the drums, and if I want to write music, I play piano a little bit, right? I'm not a great pianist, but I can play enough to write a song. How to make it interesting while reading. Shri, if you read something that's interesting, you don't need to make it interesting. It is interesting. Okay? Okay, if you are new, hi, my name is Teacher Mark. I am not new. I have been on this app for more than 12 years. I have been live streaming as a teacher here for about 5 years. I have done how many live streams now? Let's find out. How many have I done? About 1,400? 1,400? Something like that. $1,403 live streams here teaching English. Okay? Now, Aisha, I am not going to prepare anything. I am not going to prepare anything for you. I'm not going to prepare a class. Do you know why? Because you're not paying me. Nobody is paying me. So I will not prepare anything. But if you come here and you have a question, I will try to answer it. So you have to do the work because I'm not being paid. So that means you have to come with your questions and ask me your questions, then I will answer them. I am not going to prepare a class and teach for you. I'm sorry. If you want that, there are many, many free classes online that you can take. Okay? There are many free websites and things like that. Okay? But you cannot expect me to teach you for free with no money. Okay? But I will answer your questions. So you have a teacher who's here to answer your questions. All you have to do is have questions. Okay? Have questions. Okay. Aisha. Did you hear me, Aisha? No, I haven't updated the file. I need to update the numbers on the file. Okay? So, Aisha, I have been here 1,400 times teaching. Okay? I teach about grammar. I teach about vocabulary. I teach about reading, writing, listening, speaking. I teach about interviews and public speaking and confidence. I teach everything. 90,000 people follow me, Aisha. 90,000 people. There are people in every country of the world who follow me to learn English. So I am already teaching now. But Aisha, there's a famous band, Aisha. The band is called the Rolling Stones. Okay? And the Rolling Stones have a song, and that song is called You Can't Always Get What You Want. You can't always get what you want. But in the song, they say, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you might find that you get what you need. So, Aisha, if you come here, you might not get what you want, but you might get what you need instead. Okay? You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you might find you get what you need. Okay? All right, let's see. In order to, is that similar to because? Not exactly, no. Wait a minute. So in order to is talking about a goal or a purpose, right? So in order to do this, in order to join the club, you must sign this paper. In order to, right? We're talking about purpose, right? A purpose or something that needs to be done, right? I exercised in order to feel more energetic. I exercised in order to lose weight. I exercised in order to feel more healthy. Okay, not because, no, it's in order to be able to, okay? For the purpose of. I exercised for the purpose of feeling more healthy, in order to, okay? Because is just a reason, right? So I exercised because I felt fat, okay? I exercised because I wanted to lose weight. So because is about a reason, and in order to is about a purpose. Okay? PH 1.0. Look at me. You have to make a bigger mouth. Watch me. Calm. 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 That's calm. C-A-L-M. Then the other word is come. 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 It's not a big mouth. Come here. Come here. Come here. Calm. Be calm. Be calm. So open your mouth more when you say calm. Okay? I look like Mick Jagger. Ooh, I don't know if that's a good thing. What's the purpose of life? The meaning of life is to give life meaning. It's a stupid thing. When people ask about what's the meaning of life, the meaning of life is not something that you find. The meaning of life is something that you make. If you want life to have meaning, then give it meaning. Okay? So the meaning of life is to give life meaning. Okay. See, that wasn't about English, but I answered that question. All right. If you are new, then you should get my file. Let me give you my file. This is my PDF file. Okay. If you want to know about me, then copy this link and paste it to your browser and open it and read it. Everything you want to know about me is in that file. Okay, so my schedule is in that file. If you want to know my schedule, when do I teach here? It's in the file. Do you want to know my website and my YouTube channel and my blog? They're in the file. If you want to know what do we do here and what's my background, it's in the file. If you want to know, there are 4 articles. I gave 4 articles in there to you. I have given. One article is about how to think in English. Another article is about the 8 parts of language. Another article is about how to learn vocabulary better. Okay, so there are great articles in that file. All you have to do is open the file and read the file. Okay, I made that file because I have been here for 5 years and I have a lot of new people every time. And the new people don't know what we do here. So read the file and then you'll know. Okay? Okay, next question. Let's see. What does standing joke mean? Where did you see that used, Can? If someone said it's a standing joke, that means a running joke, or a standing joke means a constant joke. Like it's still there. It's still funny, right? Like maybe there's a restaurant in your neighborhood and it's a terrible restaurant. They've been terrible forever. They've never been good. They're dirty. They're not clean. They're just a bad restaurant. Right? So maybe everybody knows it's a bad restaurant, so you'll say that restaurant is a joke. They're not serious. They're a joke. Okay? A joke is something that's not serious. A standing joke or a running joke, that means a constant, it's been that way for a long time, right? So if you say that restaurant is a standing joke or a running joke, that means that it has been a bad business for a long time. Okay? How can you work on expressions or intonation? Well, those are 2 different things, Harry. When you say expressions and intonation, what do you mean? What's the best way to improve IELTS essay writing? First, write it and then replace simple words. Do not memorize anything, Philza. If you memorize something on the IELTS test, they will know that you memorized it. And if you memorized it, they're going to think that that means that you really don't know the language because you had to memorize it to remember. So sometimes people take the test, the IELTS test, and they memorize some answers that they want to say, right? Like during the speaking part, they'll memorize something about themselves, right? Guess what? That does not sound good. When the test taker hears that, when the test giver hears that, they're not going to think your English is amazing. No, they're going to think the opposite of that. They're going to think, oh, look, your English is not very good. So because your English is not very good, you memorized something because you can't speak freely. They'll know. If you memorize something, they will know. Okay, so don't memorize. Okay? What's my weakness as a person? I think that I need more patience, and I think I need to be more humble. I need to, I'm always trying to learn more about being more patient and being more humble. And it's always hard. So that's what I would say is the older you get, the more you feel like I know things. I'm the master. But that's never a really good position to feel like you're the expert always. So even if you are the expert, you should try to feel humble. You should try to stay humble, right? So you should always try to be learning. You should always try to remember who knows more than you, right? So that's, I would say, and I think that I need to follow through. Actually, no, I would say that's one of my weaknesses, but my biggest weakness, I think, is I'm sometimes I have a great idea, but I don't follow through because I'm a perfectionist. So if it's not just right, then it's not good enough, and then I won't finish. How to avoid sounding robotic and bored. Harry, don't be robotic and don't be bored. It's pretty easy, man. If you're talking about in the test, don't be robotic, man. Do you have a problem with being robotic and being bored? How can you improve your reading? I can't read difficult words. Go to eslfast.com and start reading. ESL Fast, they have about 4,000 short stories. Okay, so read those. And they have vocabulary for you to help you. Everything is there. Okay, so go to eslfast.com and you can practice reading short stories. Okay? All right, please be patient. Where does the word freelance come on, and what's its original meaning? The word freelance today means a worker who can work independently, right? You don't have a boss, you don't have a company, you're independent, so you are a freelance worker. And this term comes from the word lance. A lance is a weapon. It's a weapon that they used in the medieval days when you would ride a horse and you would hold that big stick, right? And you ride the horse really fast and you try to knock off the other guy with, off of his horse. You hit him with the stick while you're riding, right? That thing is called a lance, okay? And one kind of a soldier, if you're a horse soldier, then sometimes they called you a lancer. A lancer was a horse soldier, a soldier on horse, okay? The term freelance was about sometimes the king has an army, but his army is not big enough. He needs a bigger army. He needs more. So he will hire freelancers. They were mercenaries. They were soldiers that you could pay money to fight for you, right? So the term freelance today means a worker that you can pay money to independently that will work for you. But the original meaning is a soldier that you could pay money to fight for you. Okay? Okay, Aisha, if you want to know about me, please get the file, Aisha. Get the file, okay? Get the file, Aisha. Okay, let's see. Mouth mechanics are very interesting for me. Can you give us examples about reaching certain tones? Rodrigo, mouth mechanics just means the movements of your mouth, right? So the articulation, pronunciation, and diction, right? And Rodrigo, I think that mouth mechanics, you can practice them very, very well with tongue twisters. If you learn a bunch of tongue twisters, you will learn proper mouth mechanics in any language. You can learn the proper pronunciation of any language pretty quickly if you learn tongue twisters. But they are hard. They're hard, but they are very effective. So it's a very difficult thing to practice, but it's a very effective way to improve. Okay? Can I explain the phrase, patience is a wearing thing? So patience is something that you have, but you can lose it over time, right? So you have this much. I have this much patience, right? But it's wearing thin, not thing, thin. When something is wearing thin, to wear means it's the past, it's the word that means to break down over time, right? So if you leave a bicycle out in the sun and the rain for a couple of years, it will look very worn, okay? If you wear a shirt 1,000 times, right? After you wear a shirt 1,000 times, that shirt will look worn. Worn means old, not new, not fresh, right? So, yeah, that's what I would say is work on that, if that makes sense. Okay, so wearing thin. Wearing thin means when something, like, for example, gets older over time, it becomes thinner, so less strong. So when your patience is wearing, sometimes we say, my patience is wearing, that means my patience is getting less. Okay, I'm running out of patience. Okay? Okay, next question. To what extent does the etymological origin of English vocabulary, particularly from Latin and Germanic roots, shape meaning, usage, and nuance in modern? A lot, Nadia. It shapes the meaning a lot, the usage a lot, and the nuance a lot. For example, Nadia, you know how we say cow and we say beef and we say pig and we say pork, right? We have different words for that. Why do we have different words for the animal and for the meat? I'll tell you why. This has to do with English history. England and France have been fighting, or they had been fighting for hundreds of years. The French and the English would fight all the time, okay? And sometimes the English would win, and when the English would win, the English language would become more popular in France. And sometimes the French would win, and when the French would win, the French language would become more popular in England. So, for example, let me remember the time. What is that time period again? Wait a minute. Was it 1066? 1066. Wow, I am good. I am good. I can't believe I remembered that. William the Conqueror, the Norman conquest in 1066. So the Normans were French people, basically, okay? And they invaded and took over England in 1066. Okay, William of Normandy, William the Conqueror, okay? And when that happened, the French controlled England. And so here's what happened. They had two languages. They had two languages in England. If you were rich, then you spoke Norman French. Norman French. But if you were poor, you're not rich, then you spoke English. Okay? So the poor people would say cow and pig because that's what they didn't eat the meat. Poor people never eat the meat. No, they can't afford to eat the meat. They just raise the animals. Right? So the poor people would talk about the cow and the pig, right? They would talk about the animal. But the rich people, they would talk about beef. Bouffe was beef. Beef comes from the French word bouffe. Okay? So pork and the word beef, those words come from French because they were the rich people, and the rich people didn't talk about the animal, they talked about the meat. But the poor people would talk about the animal. So there's one example about how etymology affected language and usage and nuance. Okay? Okay, next question. I mean, how to not sound robotic when you're delivering any idea, the other person should get interested. Harry, this is very easy, Harry. This is just like teaching, okay? If the teacher seems like the teacher is bored, the teacher is not interested. If the teacher is bored and the teacher is not interested, then nobody will be interested and everyone will be bored. Okay? So, if you're talking about something and you want other people to be interested in it, then you have to show them that you are interested in it. You have to show them your passion. You have to show them your energy. If you are not energetic, they will not be. Okay? So how can you be like that, man? You have to believe in what you say. You have to believe it, man. Okay? So if you want to speak in a way that inspires people, if you want to speak in a way where people listen to you, then you have to believe in what you say. If you believe it, they will too. Okay? The word nickname, you're testing my etymology, aren't you? Nickname comes from the original term nickname was actually eek name. Let me get my history back to remember. So nickname originally was eek name. It was E-K-E, E-K-E, eek name. And it just meant a familiar name. But over time, the word eek name, an eek name, an nickname. So when you said a eek name, you would say an eek name, right? Because it's E-K-E. It begins with E-K-E. E. If it begins with an E sound, then you have to say an, right? An eek name. An eek name, an eek name, an eek name, an nickname, a nickname, a nickname. So eek name was an eek name. But over time, when people said it too fast, it became a nickname. Okay? What's the difference between kind of and sort of? Most of the time, nothing. Nay, Rivera, if I say, do you like this movie? Kind of, sort of. Or do you play piano? Kind of, sort of, means a little bit. Okay? But yeah, in most cases, they're the same. Okay? Or you could say, this is a kind of apple. This is a sort of apple. You can say that too. Okay? I feel when I'm speaking, my structure isn't like natives. I don't speak like natives when I'm trying to express my thoughts. So, Ahmed, then you need to figure out what's different. What's different? How is your structure different? You cannot fix the problem if you don't know what the problem is. So you said it's your structure. Okay, that's a good start. But now you need to figure out what is different about your structure that should be changed. So how can you do that? Maybe you can record yourself. Maybe you can transcribe something that you say, right? So speak and let the computer transcribe your words, right? Or do some writing, right? And then, Ahmed, I want you to ask ChatGPT to look at your writing and tell you what's different about your sentence structure compared to a native. Okay, ask ChatGPT to help you find the problems in your sentence structure. Okay, and find out what's different. Okay? Whoops, one moment, please. Ah, that's why. There it is. Sorry, everybody, just wait 1 minute. Okay, sorry. What's the next question? What's my MBTI? My Myers-Briggs? It's ENFJ. ENFJ. Continuation of question. Oh, right. I think I answered that question already. Aisha, why do you care? Yes, this is my job, Aisha. I pay my bills by teaching English. Some people pay me for real lessons, one-on-one, okay? I have a website. You can buy lessons from me. I teach here for free because I can, okay? I like to help people, so I'm trying to help people. But this is my job, too, okay? So yes, I do both. Okay? What's the difference between deluded about and deluded into? So deluded about something is, let me say the other one. Deluded into means someone convinced you something that's not true, right? So to be deluded into believing something means someone tricked you into believing something that's not true. Deluded you. They tricked you into believing something that's not true. Deluded about just means that you have an idea that is based on not real information. Delusions are things that you made in your mind, but they're not real. Okay? A deluded belief is something that you might believe it to be true, but it's not real. Okay? Okay. How do I keep all those word origins in my mind? I don't know, man. They just stay there. I like them and they're interesting, so they stay in my head. They just stay in my head. Yeah, wearing thin is about patience. My patience is wearing thin. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Next question. Next question. Many English native speakers said to me, your accent is different, so how to correct like a good accent like an American. So, Oshama, it doesn't matter if you have an accent. Nobody really cares if you have an accent, Oshama. The only thing that they care about is if you speak unclearly. If you speak and your accent is so bad that I can't understand you, that's a big problem. Okay? But, Oshama, I don't teach people to lose their accent. I tell people, don't lose your accent. I don't want you to lose your accent. I don't want you to sound like me. You don't have to sound like me. That's not what American English is about. Okay? If you come here, you will hear English in many ways. In New York City, everybody, in New York City, there is an area of New York City called Queens. And in Queens, you can hear about 160 different languages. In Queens. And Queens is not a big area. It's not that big. But they have 160 different languages. So I'm pretty sure they have a lot of accents too, right? A lot of accents. So, Oshama, in America, nobody cares if you have an accent. They only care if your accent is clear. Okay? So you can speak American English perfectly well with a Chinese accent, a Japanese accent, an Arabic accent, a French accent, a German accent. No one cares as long as it's clear. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you one more thing about accents. Look. What are these? What are these? These are crayons. These are accents. Now, if I have this crayon here, if I want to write my name, but this crayon is not sharp, it's not sharp, can I write my name clearly? Can I write my name clearly if it's not sharp? If I want to write it small, and I want to write my name clearly, but the pen is not, or the crayon is not sharp, then no, I can't, right? So now I have a choice. I could change crayons to a different crayon, or I could do another thing. What's the other thing I could do? Sharpen your crayon. That's right. So I don't want you to change accents. I don't want you to change the accent. I just want you to sharpen it. Make it clear. Okay? Understand? It would be boring if everybody had a similar accent. And there's one more thing too. If you do have an accent and you speak English really well, people will think two things. If you have an accent and you speak English really well, people are going to say, wow, that person speaks English well. English is not their first language. I can tell because they have an accent. Because they have an accent, I know that English is your second language, maybe, or third. That's amazing. So if you have an accent, people know that it's your second language or more, third, right? Fourth, whatever, right? And then here's the other reason why you should keep your accent. Because if you say something brilliant, that reflects well on your culture if you have an accent. Right? So if you say some brilliant words and you have a Chinese accent, that means that kind of says, well, look at that. That great idea came from somebody with a Chinese accent. That great idea came from somebody with a Japanese accent. That great idea came from somebody with an Arabic accent. Right? But if you get rid of your accent, in a way, it's almost like you're saying, I'm ashamed of my accent. I'm ashamed of my culture. I don't want you to know where I'm from because I'm ashamed of where I'm from. Are you ashamed of where you're from? If you're not ashamed, then don't hide it. Keep your accent. Just make it very clear. Just make your accent very clear. Sharpen it. Sharpen your accent. Okay? Okay. Next question. Can I give you something to improve your business English to B2? You can try this one. Try this website. Business English, you're probably going to have to pay for a course because business English has to stay current. So the best way to learn business English is to find one of the courses and sign up for a course, okay? Okay, let's see. Next question. Can I, let's see. How do you describe color to a blind person, Becca? Wow, what a deep question. I would describe it mostly with feelings. I would try to come up with opposite, or not opposite, I would try to come up with alternative senses that they can understand. So let me try to explain. So a blind person doesn't know what green looks like, but maybe I could find a piece of music that makes me feel green, and I'll make them listen to that. Maybe they don't understand what red is, but I can find a piece of music that makes me feel like what red is. Okay? I've done this in music. We do this a lot. Like, for example, when I would practice drums, sometimes what I'll do is I'll use another sense in order to try to trigger my creativity. For example, if you look at a picture and you see the picture and the picture triggers a memory, and that memory now is something you can use to perform. Or a color, just a color in front of me, the color red. So then I'll look at the color red and try to imagine, what does red feel like when I play, right? So you try to connect them to an alternative sense that they can understand. All right? But that's a deep question. Okay. Why does the word password exist long before computers and the internet? That's because we needed passwords before the internet. right? If you're in a secret club, if you're in a secret club and you knock on the door, they're not going to let you into the club unless you know the password. Okay? So passwords have been around for thousands of years. Okay? You're a teacher too. You teach physics. Wow. Wow. Thank you, Munir. That's a big compliment. MBTI is the Myers-Briggs test for intelligence, but it's like not intelligence. It's really for emotional style. Like, what kind of a person are you? How do you think? What style of person are you? That's what the MBTI will show. You can't get the streaming to flow smoothly. Rodrigo, I don't think it's me. I don't think it's me, man. I'm connected in to a cable. Should be very, very steady. You're watching from Iraq. Hello. Which American city has the best cinematic vibes at night? I don't know what that means. Cinematic. You mean like in the movies? If you mean like in the movies, none of them are really like the movies. The movies are fake. The movies are just the movies, you know? But my favorite, I love New York City, I love Chicago, and I love New Orleans. Okay, next question. You're welcome, Sharon. We care about accent in China. Maybe they will look down on you. Yeah, but Jaja. Never worry about the people who look down on you. Worry about the people who look up to you. Don't worry about the people who look down on you. Think about the people who look up to you. Okay? It's not possible to keep your accent when you learn English by listening to a native. Yes, it is. I've been doing this for a long time, and I can tell you that hundreds of my students have kept their accent while listening to English from native speakers. Okay, almost everybody who lives here. My neighbor has been here in this country for more than 30 years. He still has an accent. Okay? How to improve from B2 to C1. You have to push yourself, Sharon. So, are you studying C1 vocabulary? Have you done any look online for C1 reading? You can ask DeepSeek or ChatGPT to write something for you to read, right? So that's one of my favorite things to do on ChatGPT. You can tell ChatGPT to write one story 6 times. Please write a story about a dog. Okay, 6 times. 1 A1, 1 A2, A3. I'm sorry, B1, B2, C1, C2. Right? So A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. You can read the same story in ChatGPT, and you can see how it changes from level to level to level. That's a great exercise to do if you want to see how you can move to the next level. Okay? I understand, like, let's see. You understand like 80%, but when people talk to me, when you go to answer, you forget the conjugated words and remember the words later. Matthew, don't worry about conjugations or any of that stuff, okay? Just speak, man, okay? If you make a mistake, the sky will not fall, okay? The world will not end if you make a mistake in grammar. All right? So if you accidentally say a word with an ing instead of an ed, or if you forget to use the ed or the ing, it's okay. Don't worry. Life will continue. All right? So just try to speak, and then when you make a mistake, you'll learn, and then you'll get better. All right? All right. You like my setup. Great. What about Dallas? What about Dallas? I don't know what you're asking about. Oh, you mean about the city of Dallas? Nah, it's not really a favorite of mine. Walk in LA at night, looks exactly like the movies. Yeah, okay, LA is one city that does look like the movies. Why? Because that's where they make the movies. That's where they make the movies, is in LA. So sure, it looks very similar. Yeah. Okay. Do I accept the existence of Chinglish? Sure. West Virginia. Yeah, like I said, Language Warrior. It's funny because John Denver wrote the song about West Virginia, but he had never been to West Virginia when he wrote that song. He had never even been there. It's kind of funny. Okay. Let's see. What time is it? It's already been 2 hours. I'm going to try to finish up here. Let's see. America is different from the movies. You see the truth once you actually live there. Yeah, I would say yeah. Yeah. I don't think America is great outside of New York and LA and Miami. No, I wouldn't agree with that, man. No, put it this way. Look, New York and LA, Miami, those are great cities, but by the way, Chicago, amazing city. I think Chicago's better than New York, if you ask me. And New Orleans is one of the most amazing cities you'll ever see in the world. It's a very unique city. And we have many other places through the country that are really interesting to see. Okay? It's a big country. There's a lot to see. Okay? It's not all amazing, but it's all worth seeing. Mostly. No, I don't live in New York City. No, I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay. Wow, I think I caught up with all the comments now. Oh, all right. So before I forget, again, if you are new and you don't know who I am, sometimes people think I'm rude because I don't stop to talk to the new people. I don't stop to talk to, whoops, I'm sorry, that's not what I wanted to give you. I don't stop to talk to the new people very much because the new people ask me the same questions over and over again. How can I be good at English? How can I improve my English? Can you teach me for free? You know, things like that. So, I'm here to help you, okay? But I'm not here to do the work for you. I am not here to do the work for you. I am here to help you after you do the work. You do the work. Then when you have a problem, you come to me. Okay? I am not going to teach you everything. I'm not going to do the work for you. Okay? All you have to do is come here with good questions, and that means you're doing the work. If you come here with good questions, you're doing the work. All right? Who's my favorite drummer? My favorite drummer is Steve Gadd. Steve Gadd. Ringo's okay. Bonham was one of my favorite drummers. Bonham is one of my favorite drummers, for sure. I definitely grew up on Bonham. When I was 16, I was playing Zeppelin all the time. I never really got into the Beatles that much. You know, I played a lot of their music and I've listened to it some, but it's never really been my favorite, to be honest. So, is Dave Lombardo by Slayer good? He's very good at that kind of drumming, right? He's really good at metal drumming, you know. I really liked him, you know, in like the late 80s, early 90s. He was amazing. Yeah. You're doing the brainstormers? Good. I'm glad, Carlos. Good. Good. In which situations are go for and go with the same meaning? That's a good question. Let me think about that. Let's see. So, go for and go with are the same when you're talking about making a choice. Like, for example, maybe you're at McDonald's and somebody will say, I could go for a hamburger, right? Or you could say, I could go with the hamburger. That means I want to choose that one. Okay? So I think I'll go for the steak. I think I'll go with the steak. That means I'm choosing the steak. Okay? If you say, we decided to go for the person with more experience, to go for the person with more experience means to choose that one. To go with the person with more experience, again, means to choose that one. So to go for and to go with are the same when you're talking about making a selection or a choice, right? But go for can also be something when you're saying something that you want to do with enthusiasm. Like, I'm going to go for the promotion. In this case, that means to strive for, to try to get it. It doesn't just mean to choose. It means to put an effort towards it, to try to get it, right? And go with sometimes just means well, it's just a neutral choice. Go with can also be, I'm going to go with you to the store. I'll go with you to the store, right? That's different than go for, right? But we also sometimes say, I'm going to the store for milk. I'm going for milk, to go for. In this case means to go by. Okay? Jumana, my broadcast schedule is in my file. Okay, if you get this link right here, if you copy that link and open that in your browser, you should be able to read my file, and in my file you'll see my live schedule. Okay, my live stream schedule. What band did I listen to the most in my youth? Van Halen, Led Zeppelin. Probably those two. Van Halen and Led Zeppelin. I was a big Van Halen fan when I was a kid. Still am. Okay. Verdict and decision. Decision is a general term to decide something, right? So the word decision is a word that we use for all kinds of things, right? What's your decision about what to eat? Your decision about where to go? Your decision about what to watch? A decision is a choice, right? A verdict, the word verdict is a word that's used usually in court. In court, all right? So, what is the verdict in court means what did the jury or what did the judge decide, right? So what's the outcome? What's the final result? So if the judge says you're guilty, then that's a guilty verdict, okay? Now, sometimes we use the term verdict when we're asking somebody, what's your decision, right? So maybe you're trying to decide which car to buy. Which car to buy. You don't know. Maybe you'll buy this one, maybe you'll buy that one. And then your friend will say, so what's the verdict? It means, what did you decide? Okay, which one did you decide to choose with? All right? Verdict is punchier and stronger. Yes, but we won't use it all the time. The word decision can be used almost all the time. Verdict is a word I would only use in some places, not all the time. It'll sound weird if you use verdict all the time. Okay? My hair looks better and better. I don't know. I'm losing my hair. I'm glad you think it looks good, but it's falling out every day because I'm getting old. But thanks for the compliment nonetheless. Well, thank you. I don't do anything to my hair. I wash it. That's it. I wash it. I brush it. That's it. I don't do anything special. I don't have any special products. That's it. Okay, guys, I need to go because I'm hungry. It's 12 o'clock. It's noon. It's time for me to go eat some lunch. Okay? You want me to read my mantra? I can do that for you. Sure. So if you want to know what we do here, then I'll show you what we do here. What we do here is we try to learn and we try to grow and we try to become better people. That is the job of every human. Your job is to try to make yourself better, not worse. Every human on this planet should be trying to make themselves better every day. Not better with money, I mean better with their humanity. Okay? So, this is something that I wrote to help us remember what's important as a human. So, please read with me. Whoops. On being human, a mantra for learning. I am a student first. I am always learning. I do not know everything. I am here to understand. I listen before I speak. I think before I answer. I follow the words, not the ego. I seek clarity, not control. My mind is not finished. It has been shaped over time. What is tangled, I will work to untangle. What is unclear, I will work to understand. I take responsibility for my growth. No one can do this for me. If I am wrong, I will learn. If I am right, I will stay humble. I build my mind before my voice. I strengthen my thinking to strengthen my language. As I improve myself, I improve what I can give to others. I respect the process. I respect the work. Step by step, I become better. This is my responsibility. That's it. If you like that, you can get that on my page, on my file, or I'm sorry, on my Moments. On my Moments, you can download this picture. Okay? So Your job is to work on yourself. Your job is to work on yourself to become better. Okay? Okay, if it's too small, then go download it from my page. Okay? Go download it, all right? Why is my hair better and better? It's because the hair artist gets a skill better and better who works at your hair shop. I don't go to a hair shop. Rena, I have not had a haircut in more than a month. I wash my hair. I do this. I wear a hat. I do this. That's it. That's what I do to my hair. That's all I do. I don't do anything. You guys are funny. Okay, so I'll be back tomorrow. So come back and see me tomorrow. And again, please remember, guys, this is a classroom. When you find a classroom, when you go into the classroom, you don't go into the classroom and tell the teacher what to do. You go into the classroom and you listen to what the teacher is doing, right? You join what the teacher is doing. You don't go to the classroom and then tell the teacher what to do, right? And I promise you, I am a teacher. Really. This is my job. It's what I do. Okay? So, if you come here, you might not get what you want. If you have a question that's, I want you to teach me about grammar. You got to teach me about grammar. I want to know that. That's what you have to teach me. If that's what you do when you come to my class, you probably won't get what you want. Okay? But if you come to my class, maybe you won't get what you want, but you will get what you need. All right? I try to give everybody what they need. All right? All right. Alexander, you're so funny. You guys are funny about my hair. Okay, I have to go. I'm going to go eat some lunch. Have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening wherever you live in the world, and come back and see me again next time, okay? Once again, please get my file. Everything you need to know about me is in this file. Everything you need to know about me is in that file. So get the file, open the file, read the file, and you'll see everything you need to know about me and what I do here. Okay, get the file, get the file, get the file. All right, bye everybody. See you next time.